All right, our praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. All right, in this video, we're going to get into some DNA information dealing with some of the groupings of Jewish people. So, with that being said, let's get into this information dealing with DNA and current events. So, first of all, if you are new to this channel, welcome to Israel DNA. I basically do various types of videos, whether they be current events or just general DNA information with people groups and linking them with biblical progenitors, basically. And I do this on my other channel on Operation Gadite. Both channels I do based off detailed DNA information dealing with haplogroups, of course. So what we are looking at often with the DNA information, when you start to get into those understandings of Y-DNA paternal groupings and mtDNA maternal groupings, you start to understand different history points that wasn't, available according to our educations, background. You start to realize that you get, see other detail background stories to other things that wasn't, obviously told to you when you was younger, or even as an adult, something that you never knew about people groups, about your own ancestry. So DNA is good for that. The information that they give about your parents and your ancestry is very important. And then on the global scale, you start to look at it and you start to see patterns, and you start to see habits, you start to see destruction, and then you overall look at it and you go, this is like a historical crime scene, and you are slowly starting to connect the dots on what actually happened in history versus what they are telling you in school about history. So recently we had a junket party, and the junket parties are, I don't know if they still do what they used to do back in the day, but it's just a fancy term for paid for travel arrangement for representatives of the U.S. government to go to various places on the behalf of special interest lobbying groups and their board, the committee that they are on, and everything is paid for via taxpayer and other private donors. And they go out and they get documentation of whatever trade deals, treaties, whatever heads up they want to give to other people, government, or corporate entity overseas. They do it through these, so-called arrangements that used to be called junkets, but I guess this is something that they just would probably call a traditional business house call. And it's not just that, but the United States government is obviously heavily invested in Ukraine. So they have to keep a lot of tabs on this country because it's the most corrupt country outside of the U.S. And it don't take a trained criminal to figure that out, or untrained criminal to figure this out about corrupt people or people that are cons. So all these people, fit together and they should be together. So yeah, the Jewish ancestry groupings of people going to visit their original Jewish state. I say their original Jewish state because that is the case. Before there was the planted state of Israel, there was this empire called Khazaria, and that was the home base of the lie that became Judaism, and then evolved into so-called Jewish people being ethnic Jews and people of the religion in the group of people itself. So you have Zelensky basically doing travels, asking for money, asking for help, because the lie and the operation they gave to him, the plan, the blueprint that they gave to him is falling apart, and it's timely falling apart. And most of it could have been probably purposely planned, especially by the U.S. government. Never trust people that are more corrupt than yourself. And when you do, make sure you get as much as you can from the arrangement and the people, as Zelensky is trying to do. And so you perfectly are paired with the best to corrupt governments. And so Zelensky is probably panicking because the fortification stuff is not rapidly coming along. At best, they could probably fortify a couple of the major cities in Ukraine. Other than that, the people that they gave the money to, most likely the government took the money, meaning Zelensky himself, and the contractor took the money. So now you're basically having poor vetting, and whoever they gave the money to is just basically digging trenches, something that the military themselves could do. And so we don't know what kind of fortification or defensive line Ukraine is putting up for the rest of the year to hold off the Russian advances. But this is really not what this video is about. This video is just highlighting, this recent travel. So you have uh, Chuck Schumer, Jewish ancestry. You have Richard Blumenthal right here, the guy next to him, to his right, Jewish ancestry. You have Zelensky, Jewish ancestry. You have Victoria Newland. I say Lulin. Newland, Jewish ancestry. You have Antony Blinken, Jewish ancestry. You have Newland, uh, deputy Jewish ancestry. So you have a good pocket of Jewish people that are overseeing this arrangement and operation. Um, because a lot of these people were um, are basically invested into a lot of defensive contracts and stuff. So you have um, a lot of special interests involved with them seeing firsthand with the weapon systems and um, negotiating a package. Yes, Biden could easily go offer Pentagon advisors, but when you have the Defense Secretary, a ex president of Raytheon, and then you have the U.S. government heavily based off of insider trading information to where they always betting on medical insurance in defense contracts and being able to buy trades or buy stock into these countries, companies as the countries. The same thing with the countries as well. They could buy countries as well with leveraging and uh, destabilizing, groups of people. So um, this is what America government or the U.S. government do. We uh, watch the U.S. government destabilize countries over trade options. So you have everybody in the State Department, everybody in the Pentagon, and Biden, of course. All these people heavily invested into Ukraine because, um, one is a perfectly placed gas station in Europe that the United States could use with ease for any type of operation in a World War scenario. Because the U.S. government want to hold off on going to the extremes for last case, plan D scenario. And lately, we've been using, the U.S. government been using oil reserves to send overseas, oil reserve, natural gas. We've been selling a lot of it. And now we may be in a conflict with Russia, China, a lot of countries now, Iran. So they are now looking heavily into just going into, Ukraine itself for that exact reason. And the only problem is the United States manufacturing capacity is not up to par. It is very outdated and limited. Uh, Everything, the infrastructure, everything is very limited, and that's because of Agenda 21. Those treaties that was like the foundation of this whole global warming slash climate change dynamic and agenda driven movement have gutted America, from Canada to the U.S. to Mexico and other countries around the world, and put carbon taxes and everything upon, you know, the government, businesses, and the citizens of those countries. So, um, World War III is going to be a taxing event for everybody in all the world, in all the way of the meaning, physically and financially. Um, so, the U.S. Um, manufacturing and labor sector is strained, and this is why they are letting immigrants in, because they need cheap labor, they need more labor, because the boomers and other people are just retiring. A lot of people are leaving the known private sector and going into the digital and internet private sector, working from home, being influencers, doing podcasts, doing Uber, doing other things that are, you know, more convenient for their lifestyle versus, that 10 to 10 manual labor, that 9 to 5 desk secretary representative stuff. So Americans in general have other priorities with their lives and living arrangement versus the government and their destabilization programs. So um, the U.S. is gonna have to make some quick adjustments and arrangements shortly. What and when, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to read about it eventually on Drudge. So with this, um, the United States have to, put limits on the spending. So they are spending out of control, and a lot of the spending is going to, of course, the two Jewish states, Ukraine and Israel. So, and you're saying to yourself, why is he constantly saying the money is going to two Jewish states when there's only one that Europe created? I'm like, well, I guess everybody forgot about uh, the other state that they created. So let me back out of this. Let me go to this real quick. So now we are going to get into some history stuff. So like I said, Ukraine is a target for several reasons. And one of the reasons, besides the energy and besides of the amount of investment the U.S. and NATO put into to try to get as close to Russia and intimidate them as possible, is because tradition wise, that place is the original. This is the original Jewish Jewish state. So um, what we're looking at is the Khazarian Empire, and this is where the lie and the conversion happen. You have pale Caucasian people converting into being Jewish people, And they started by, getting advisors to go to Israel to learn about what they can find out about uh, the children of Israel. And the reason for that was because in this time period, there was a lot of empires raising and falling. And so you had this empire being in a heavily, terrain, and the terrain that they are in, it was a safe enough environment. But the issue is a lot of the other ethnic groups around them wasn't as safe to them. So they basically had to make treaties and alliances, and they had to change their, identity, because in this point in time, a lot of these people are basically either atheists or Christians, basically. And a lot of this is dealing with the obvious fall of the Roman Empire, and now the empire is becoming, the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire. So you have the Byzantine Empire, you had competing empires and stuff. So you had the Byzantine Empire, and I want people to understand the visualization of everything. So Rome was the backup empire for Greece. So yeah, Greece and Rome rising up at the same time. Greece obviously became the powerhouse, while Rome was still steady, growing and building towards the backup structure for whenever Greece fell, Rome could easily rise. So all these empires, especially all these empires dealing with um, pale, pale complexion Caucasian rule, they always have like a secondary plan to rule again. So before the Greek Empire, before the Roman Empire, you had Europe and Asia. Europe is basically a very diverse layout in this point in time. And you had dark complexion native European people. You had pale complexion native European people. You had both of them. And we say both of them because of the Japhetic stock of people that was there already. And then you had pygmy people migrating and going into what we would know as Great Britain, or Britannia, um, and Ireland, Scotland, so on. So it had dark complexion people before it became Greece or Rome. were they the majority or the minority? We don't know. We just know for a fact that most of the time that dark complexion people was often the minority of rule. They never was the majority of the ruling class. Put it like that. So you had this empire, and you see the time periods and everything, and you see the religion that they was geared towards. But is this one Judaism? So they took on being Israel. So this is your original Jewish state right here. And it was around this time that they took on that as well. This is the King Bulan. There you go. And they had to do this because, obviously everybody could see a war was coming with the uprising of Islam. So I just want to make sure people see that, see that. And so, and we also need to get into maybe the more stuff we won't get into, but let's get into African empires and stuff real quick. So this is also a interesting thing because this is one of the empires that had a lot of the Moors within it, and everybody know the Moors went into Europe, and they wanted to go along with the Caliphate. So we go to the Caliphate. This Caliphate, and what they were trying to do, a lot of these collections of dark complexion people with all this education, science, math, self-defense training, engineering, you name it, they was very skilled. A lot of these people wanted to create the ultimate empire, and they was doing it through a basically religion-based structure. Where have we heard this from before? So you have that being played out with the Byzantine Empire. Is it still? Yeah, the Byzantine Empire, with the whole Christianity conversion thing. So these two unholy groupings of peoples or empires was on a collision course. And the Khazars, the Khazarian people, they wanted no parts of that, so they converted. Even if they knew that wasn't gonna buy them enough time, they just knew, okay, we get posed as the chosen people, and we could buy some time. Well, it brought them a lot of time. It brought them a lot of time. It brought them a whole new planted territory slash country. So again, this is where that whole conversion into Judaism and everything came from, when they, you know, made the decision to send people into Israel, find out what they know about the people, the tradition, bring all that information back so they could teach and train everybody on the religion, and then on being the ethnic group of so-called Jewish people. So you have that, and you have, I guess we go to the Moors. The Moors being able to unite all these groups of people into a pre-Renaissance. Basically, this is the Renaissance period for dark complexion people in Africa, in parts of Asia, in Europe. So you basically had all these groups of dark complexion people doing their own thing, and a lot of these Moors wasn't scattered throughout Europe. Like at best, the Moors went into Portugal and Spain the furthest, and they inspired and their influence traveled. So eventually, the other dark complexion people that already been there before Greece and Rome, because you have to remember the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire often enslaved a lot of dark complexion people groups from around the world, and they brought them to their empire as slaves. So you have a big population of slaves that is greater than the ruling class. That's greater than probably the population that was already there, that was dark complexion. So you have an explosion of various dark groups of people and races that are trying to fit into this melting pot that is known as I want to say the Dark Ages and the Middle Dark Ages, right before the Renaissance period of the white people start to explode. So we are going to look at the DNA aspect of this. So the war in Ukraine is basically what we call what goes around comes around. What goes around is basically the curses. So Israel, the real Israelites, was blessed and cursed. And those was the key things that identify you as an Israelite, besides, the obvious DNA information. So, but at the same time, for those people that didn't understand the gravity of being God chosen people, basically, when you take on that mode, because we are so blessed and cursed at the same time, you are delivering destruction upon your nationality of people, your ethnic group of people, your line of people. When you are saying that you are the chosen people of God. And this is what those Caucasian people did, or those Japhite people did. They basically, you know, uh, took on the image, lied, and cover up not just Israelite identity and heritage, but other European groups of people identity and heritage. So um, a lot of these people left the empire because those treaties, or those trade alliances and treaties, they only last for so long before other groups of people can offer more money, more protection, and better deals. And once that happens, your empire is basically done. And that's the case with a lot of the West African empires. And a lot of the West African empires was infiltrated by this group. So a lot of these R1B groups of people are dealing with split complexion groups types. You have dark complexion R1B, you have pale complexion R1B, and a lot of those dark complexion people was, from my understanding, have been relocated. So a lot of these people went to various West African islands, various East African islands, various Caribbean islands, and various places in North America. And so we don't know how big and how vast this lie is. So you have this one group of people, a Japhetic people, living a lie because they wanted to give way to this group and these groups. Now remember, all of the Japhetic people are with this ability to have various complexion types. It's just often that we see a lot of these people, a lot of these people, a lot of pale complexion Japhetic people versus the dark complexion people. And even you have some of these groups of people being dark complexion within those groupings, and you definitely have it in this group right here, and as well as this K group and this group. They are basically the same group. These groupings used to be the ancient Greek people. So notice how all these islands are in Greece. The same people, they relocated out here, and now they are basically living a similar comfortable lifestyle that they probably lived in Greece. So The big thought is this. So you have this Japhetic group of people. So they want to claim that they are from Israel. So for argument's sakes, because there have been projects and digs, they could be from this planted area. As you can see, you see this J2, J1, and on the mtDNA, this is the Y-DNA map. For mtDNA, you basically have the same group of women. You have a J group. So they are perfectly staying in line with some of the teaching of the Torah, with staying with your own grouping of people. Even though Japhetic people have like a lot of women to choose from, but the irony is that on the other side of the mtDNA information, the same group of J is in this area. So they're closely, keeping it within the realm of related people with their holy seeds, holy or unholy seeds, basically unholy seeds. But you have that separation, and you have that supremacy doctrine that you visualize that Hitler wanted to see happen. And remember, Hitler is a terror from the house of Edom. So you have Hitler being E1B1B, and then his mtDNA is HV or H. So that would be your dark complexion paternal group versus one of the pale groups of maternal groupings of women. So you have J claiming to be native to the Levant and Israel. So they could be that. They could do digs, which they have done, and they could find J and J2 all over, and that's good because this is topsoil sediment of so many years or decades or centuries on top. Now, if they were to go deeper, I'm pretty sure you'll see some A, some B, and a lot of E. So we are not concerned about them saying that they are native or been found here. The issue is we are talking about Israel, the man that is Jacob. So Jacob was basically the father of a daughter named Dinah and of 12 sons. And he had 4 wives. So all these people are obviously dealing with a set gene pool and a set place. That's how genes work. So Israel inheritance or lineage comes from obviously this Iraq region. A lot of the people in that region, the Hamites and other groupings of Shemitic people, All those people were Shemitic. All those people were nomadic people. So you have the Hamitic people and the Shemitic people in this region being nomads. So they wasn't settling. So they moved from area to area, and the concentration of a lot of your diet and protein come from a water-based source. So a lot of Jacob ancestry and protein information is going to come from the Nile River Valley that comes from the Great Lake region. So his children lived there for 400 years. So the Israelites are based from this region. That would be the E1B1A groupings of people. A lot of people think this group is West African based when it already tells you who's West African based, you know. That group and then this group spreading over. So, and this is what happened when you're just nomadic and you're just, you know, able to wander around, period. Like, don't forget, Hamitic groups of people sailed the seas. So, we can't forget that. We can't forget not just they are people that travel, like the pygmies and stuff, but, you know, travel by foot and then, you know, across a short way, maybe on a boat, a raft, or a ship. But these people are good with, you know, sailing the seas, as many different groups of people are. And that's what we are seeing in this map. But when I say crime scene and you go specifically, what are you talking about when you say crime scene? Well, more so crime scene, more like a conspiracy. And the Bible talks about the conspiracy of the Confederates. And you see it. This R1B, this J, the C group, you have the leader, the E1B1B group, because another place that is heavily visited by everybody is Morocco. So it's not just the Vatican and the Pope and Netanyahu and Israel that is visited by a lot of people that get a lot of money. It's Morocco and the monarchs, as well as their government. This is the house of Edom. And within this house of Edom, the Berber, and within the house of Edom and Ethiopia, dealing with um, Amara or Tigray people and other groups in that region, you have Amalekites, and that's the full stock of Edom, basically. But yeah, among Edom, you have Edomite tares. So when it comes to tares, um, basically, Edom is the one that we can say is the real profile of a tear that is meant for destruction. Yes, everybody know Israel shouldn't have terrors, but we do. We have a lot of terrors, and they would be sifted. So the One West doctrine of father side paternal lineage is just another form of Christianity and saving a lot of people. Because look, we go to the Americas, so-called Native Americans, all those people on that chart, One West chart, are dealing with these people. No one is E1B1A. Nobody. So what, you trying to say that on the other side, these groups of people are L2? They could be L2. It's just that they are still a tear. And for people that don't know, L2 is the mtDNA for women of Israel. So what I teach and what I tell people, from my understanding, you will have to be a full pair. Your DNA ancestry have to have both pair of Israelite gene for you to be a Israelite. Not just half, not just, a third, in which that's not a thing, that's that autosomal stuff, and people are reading the information wrong, and they're thinking about a collection of ethnic groups of people that makes up them. And that's not the case. It's just timing of movement from place to place and the percentages of that movement. So, and I like how somebody did a article, and they was talking about trauma, how they look at trauma. And it's easy, especially when you're doing those autosomal. That's what they're for. You go, okay, this person is this and that. Most likely they was in that region during that time period. And that's how you understand that there's a high possibility within the DNA sequence that it records a lack of nutrients or something in the diet that always been, and it stopped. So this is what I try to tell people when we are looking at the groups versus percentages, and people just want to fall in love with the fairy tale of being a multi-natural being, multi-ethnic, a little bit of this, a little bit of that being, when you can't, at best you'd be, you know, a Shemitic person versus a Japhetic person, when the understanding of that is you're going by your paternal inheritance, because a lot of women tend to favor their father. So the obvious thing is gonna be their viewpoint and focus, even though most likely they're gonna have their mother behavior and other issues. But the thing is, they inherit their mother line, even though the father contributes the obvious extra X to them. So let's see, was there anything else? So I wanted to share that with y'all because um, when it comes to current events, I think I was in images. With the current events, um, Russia is trying to create a buffer zone. They need a buffer zone, and the buffer zone is to create space for them to continue to build up a infrastructure to move a very large army and military force into the Middle East, and they want to have the capacity to do that via land bridge, because you see what's happening in the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. So you see in the North Sea, you see the exercises and everything. So they need, and they are building up as many infrastructures of rail line, roads, and everything into a lot of countries and places in Russia, and they are doing this for Megiddo, for that last battle between the East and the West. So this is their goal, because they know they are gonna go to war with NATO. They know that wherever is left of the United States is gonna already be deployed in Europe and in Asia. So they are already, like, most of these countries that have been in BRICS and sanctioned by the US government, they've been preparing for this end time event for a long time. And we say end time, this is the end of the Western empire or Western society rule, and Eastern rule is going to reign for a short period of time before they collapse. So, but in between all of that, this war is happening. And war becomes a event and a thing, but it still don't change a lot of people habits. It might change their habit for months and years before a lot of people just get used to everything that's going on around them, and then they go back to their old ways and old habits. Especially if everything ends up in like this topic format. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna easily go into other ways of survival. So that's Russia goal. The United States goal is to have a gas station ready for whatever resources that is left from their alliances to be able to tap into. Because it don't take a rocket scientist to find out and to figure out that some parts of Europe are gonna be nuked, and some parts, if not all parts of the United States and the Americas are nuked. So these people basically went there to calm Zelensky down and to say, hey, we are bailing everybody out. Give us time. We need to give more people money. We need to give more people time to make bunkers or to get their life situated with them and their families before you do whatever you gotta do, whether it be assassinated, whether it flee, whether it negotiate, whether it you know, invading somebody else's country for weapons like Transnistria. It's, you know, stay the course until you don't hear from us. But if you see us and you're looking at us and you are begging for our money, just sit there and listen. Not you talk to us and tell us what we need, you know. But this is the irony and the hypocrisy of Japhetic people and Edomites. They are, you know, living that whole story about the house divided. They are living the whole story about two masters. And we are seeing it, you know, Jewish people got to be pro-Ukraine and pro-Israel. You know, my people have to be pro-Ukraine, pro-Israel, pro-Arab, because a lot of the Berbers people are dealing with those Bedouin people that are also Japhetic people. They are not Ishmaelites. These people, let's go back to the map real quick. So a lot of the people that people are associating the Arabs with, so these are the Arabs. This is the grouping of people. So you looking at the same people. So the so-called planted people from various territories of Europe and Russia that was sent into Israel or Palestine to make Israel the country, not the kingdom. But these are related people. And that's why I brought up the Khazarian Empire stuff. Because once the empire fell, those people fled into Russia, Germany, and other parts of Europe. And they was isolated. They kept them to themselves, if I can say the word right. And they kept that so-called Jewish tradition that was in the Torah. They modified it into a Talmud to create more flexibility and more tell all signs to say, hey, these are not, you know, Israelites. These are literally people that decided to convert and created a whole new ethnic group when they are just Caucasian people, period. So you have the Arab people, which are, basically Caucasian people. You have the Israeli people, or the so-called ethnic Jews, and the people with Jewish ancestry, dealing with the same group, J or R1B. And you have R1A as well. You have some so-called Jewish ancestry with people of Q as well. You also have it with E. So you have this E1B1B group. You have the A group with the Falashan Jews. You got the Sephardic Jews with the R1B. You got the Limba as well with the R1B, and sometimes the J or the G. So you have a conspiracy that we see with these groups, and that's the crime. The crime of multiple groups of people knowing that they are not these people. Their history and their science is telling us this, and they have the media resources and law backing governments to help them constantly fund the lie. So that's the crime. And the other crime is, the participation of the slave trade, the obvious slave trade, the sub-Sahara slave trade of moving the Bantu people. And then you have the Atlantic slave trade dealing with more Bantu people. So we are getting close to that time and point to where everybody is gonna question these people and their identity. And so that's where we are, slowly going. It could be faster, but we have to make sure we, educate ourselves on what we are seeing and when we are seeing it, because, um, we have access to a lot of information in social media. And so we want time to go by fast. And in that process, we don't learn nothing from our past. We don't learn from nothing from a minute ago. So we have to take advantage of what we are seeing, have an understanding, and comprehend what will happen next. What will happen next is a massive global war. Right now, the war is local. The World War III is happening, but on local scale. So these are the sections that World War III is happening in already. So you have Ukraine and Russia. So that's a local war. That's a civil war. You have the Myanmar thing happening. That's also a part of World War III. That's local. That's a civil war as well. We have the Congo and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and that's a part of World War III because of the resources in that region of Rwanda, Uganda, with the gold, with the coltan, the cobalt, uh, a lot of that those minerals deposit are gonna be the the usage. They're gonna need that those minerals to build these chips that are supposed to be implanted. So it's not just Taiwan, China and Taiwan gonna be a thing, but it's gonna be multiple countries and people groups dealing with the same thing because, like World War One, everybody hates each other. Everybody owes somebody reparations. Everybody has people within their ethnic group that don't belong in their ethnic group or tribe. And a lot of people want payment. They want payback. They want revenge. So we are living in the time of Jacob trouble, and we are living in the time period of the tribulation. So we are going to see all these things constantly being instigated and exploding into special military operations, and then into conflict zones, and into local national wars before global wars are happening. So the Congo situation is gonna, continue to go the way it been going. This is not a new conflict. This is another conflict that is from the early 2000s, and the movement was originally a movement that was the opposition party. The M23 was the opposition party, and basically they, became military base influence once they couldn't, be involved in the government. So this conflict been going on over a while, probably now a decade now. So it's more enhanced of a conflict because of the valuable nature of the minerals, the rare earth minerals that are deposited in this region. The government obviously want to privatize it and give it away. Other people want to use it for the country benefit, and both sides are heavily influenced by outside resources. So it's not a win-win for any side or these people, because once the person, whoever the ruling parties of these military forces are, they're gonna just sell it to the highest bidder, and that's gonna most likely be the BRICS, and the BRICS are gonna just, flip all those resources into, possibly free chips and free vaccination. So not just you're getting chipped by these people that want to, control you in a state of digital rule and laws, but they want to, permanently make you a slave to a system that is out of their control and out of their capacity of understanding. So it's not just the mark of the beast, it's the whole nature of the beast evolving. So, and that's where that AI system and all these other systems are going, period. So it want to make people very soulless. So, and we know that a lot of people lack soul in general, but we're talking about the whole nature of people lacking proper character and proper emotions, having a chip towards consumption and a way of means for health and other things, it basically makes you a guinea pig, and a test animal, a testing animal to whatever party that is trying to get the information or the data about the behavior change from people. So with all that being said, I think I'm done with this video. So as always, all praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings once again to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. And as always, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section according to the community guidelines, and I shall respond to the comment with a video or a comment itself right back. With that being said, thank y'all and peace.